No, he doesn't. He makes 500 million a day. He makes 3 billion every week. In 6 seconds, he's going to make more money than you're going to make all year. You're going to tell me he earned that? People don't understand just how much money $1 billion is. Do you know the difference between 1 million and $1 billion? It's about $1 billion. It takes 12 days to count to 1,000,000 seconds. It takes 31 years to count to 1 billion. This one person has $170 billion. Let's put this in perspective. If you made $5,000 a day, every day, since the time of Christopher Columbus in 1492, you would still have less money than Jeff Bezos makes in 1 week. You're gonna sit there and tell me he earned it? Remove the boot from your throat! No one earns $1 billion, they steal it. Defending a billionaire who makes more money in the time that it takes for you to watch this video than you will have in 3 years dedicated to full-time work is gross. Choosing to quarrel and fight with other members of the public who enjoy the same standard of living as you and who make roughly the same amount of money as you, give or take a couple $1,000s, making value judgments as to why they, just like you, are not billionaires. You're lazy. You're poor. All because they are advocating for a better quality of life for all people? No, they just want a handout. This is weak. The only ones that want handouts are billionaires. Newsflash, the system is running exactly as it was designed. 1%, not even a 1%, a fraction of 1% live like absolute kings. Only 1% of the population is even feasibly capable of becoming a billionaire. To become part of the 1%, it is required that there is another 99% who cannot become part of the 1%. These people are doing this to you, and you love it. You are not a billionaire. You're never going to be a billionaire. So if you believe in the legitimacy and meritocracy of the system, then what, pray tell, is the reason that you are not a billionaire? What are the implications? What are you implying? How have you not factored in reality? That capitalism is a system designed to consolidate wealth and power into the hands of the few via exploiting, undermining, depriving, resource extracting, violently terrorizing the entire population. Why are you so ardently defending a class of people who, if given the chance, would melt you down into biomatter and use you as jet fuel for their next private flight?
Stop defending billionaires. You're not a billionaire. You're never going to be a billionaire, and nor should being a billionaire be something that you should ever aspire to be. You a psychopath? You want to enrich yourself while impoverishing millions of people and contributing to the misery of humanity? Also, you can sail your mega yacht to Turks and Caicos for the weekend? You insane? Billionaires are not your friends. They will sooner melt you down into biomatter and use you as jet fuel for the next private flight to the World Cup rather than acknowledge your existence, okay? So quit simping for billionaires. Billionaires are not your friends. But I am. You are a hardworking member of society. In order for there to be a minority class of billionaires who make up 0.01% of the population, there needs to necessarily be a majority class of workers who are exploited, who make up 99.9% of the population. You did not make the cut. You are not on the team. It's time to grow a spine. You are exponentially and infinitely closer to being homeless than you will ever be to $1 billion. You understand that if everyone was a billionaire, nobody would be a billionaire? That's how that works. Stop defending your capitalist overlords who exploit you.
Bro's anti-capitalist, but he's got an Amazon Prime account. Shaming people for criticizing a state corporate complex that they are forced to participate in is silly, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You're just jealous because you're not a genius like Jeff Bezos. Wrong. I am pointing out the hypocrisy of the capitalist system. A system which not only exploits and profits off public infrastructure, public utilities, public innovation, public labor, society itself, but then it takes credit for it as well. Jeff Bezos did not build Amazon. We did. Jeff Bezos did not build social media. Jeff Bezos did not create the internet or GPS. Jeff Bezos didn't create software, hardware, microelectronics, computers that make his business run. Jeff Bezos didn't drive one truck. Jeff Bezos did not fly one airplane. Jeff Bezos did not build one road. Workers did. Jeff Bezos built Amazon the same way that the pharaohs built the pyramids. Wage slaves. Jeff Bezos earned it. Really? So in 2014, Jeff Bezos' wealth rose $30 billion on a rumor that wasn't true about a smartphone that he was going to sell through Amazon. You're going to tell me that he earned that? He earned $30 billion based on a dubious rumor. On March 9th, 2017, Jeff Bezos made $230,000 every 60 seconds. You're going to tell me he earned that? On October 10th, 2017, Jeff Bezos made $6.24 billion in 5 minutes. Just about the GDP of Kyrgyzstan. You're gonna tell me you earned that? Huh? Oh yeah!
This comment is wrong for two reasons. First of all, every capitalist nation like the United States considers themselves and openly proclaims themselves to be capitalist. So it's absolutely fair for us to be critical of that. It's hypocritical to only cherry pick the good parts and call that capitalism. Meanwhile, anything that's bad is a failure of an economic system that we do not currently live under, and which they always blame. It's not an argument. Second of all, yes, by that same logic that we just laid out, it would be fair to critique communist countries for calling themselves communist, but they don't do that. They don't consider their governments or their states communist. They've never referred to what they're doing as communism. They've referred to themselves as socialist, both China and Russia and elsewhere. It's not an argument to accuse someone of being a hypocrite for something that they never claimed to be in the first place. If you critique someone that is saying that that's not real socialism when referencing a socialist state that considers itself socialist openly, then I think you have a better argument at least to make. It's at least an argument rooted in reality. But if you're going to make that argument, you're also going to have to neglect the material analysis of the past 300 years in which we've lived in a global capitalist system, dominated by capitalist values, dominated by a capitalist military, army, dominated by a capitalist economic system. So for something to survive that is opposing that, when the power dynamic is so skewed to the capitalist favor, then you're kind of victim shaming. You're kind of victim blaming these smaller, less wealthy, less powerful countries for not being able to get their shit together when they're being invaded, they're being bombed, they're being couped, they're being blockaded, they're being sanctioned. They are being undermined economically, militarily, financially, in every possible way. You're just saying, I'm not even looking at that anymore. And I'm just gonna say, yeah, socialism doesn't work. That doesn't make any sense. Have critical thinking. Jeff Bezos does not exist in a vacuum. He came from society and he did not build Amazon all by himself. He was gifted $1 million by his parents and other institutional investors, which he certainly had connections with, given that he was a Princeton grad and a Wall Street hedge fund manager before he left his job to start Amazon. He played a sick sociopathic game whereby he crushed his competition through all sorts of underhanded ways, subsumed, consumed, and vertically integrated those companies into his company. He exploited millions of poor people in the workforce through wage labor, by extracting the surplus value that they created and using that money to purchase stock buybacks for his company, to raise the share price for his largest institutional investors, which is how the stock market works in the first place. He spent billions crushing labor unions and labor organizing. He consolidated his wealth and used it as leverage to accrue more political power, then used that political power to buy off politicians to legislate laws against you, the worker. You made him possible in the first place. Amazon didn't create the market. Amazon consumed the market. This person is defending Jeff Bezos for context, and they're saying that if I'm going to critique this person, why don't I start by creating infrastructure that offers just as much value as he has, which is actually really hilarious, because if there's one thing that we, the public, have created that has intense value, it's infrastructure. The infrastructure that Jeff Bezos used to start his website was publicly funded technology, computers, the internet, software, all of this stuff is infrastructure. The packages have to be delivered on public roads, which the public paid for. If there's one thing that the public is responsible for, it's infrastructure. Valuable, indispensable infrastructure. Trucks, workers, roads, factories, land, telecommunications. The point here is that this is capitalist indoctrination. It's always the success of one man. The failures belong to everyone, but the success is always the product of just one man. The hero, the leader, the visionary.
You're right, it's not a billionaire's job to fix everyone's life for them. It's literally a billionaire's job to exploit everyone's life for their benefit and self-enrichment. That is the name of the game. Welcome to capitalism. It's a sick, anti-human game designed for sociopaths. Do I think billionaires could do more for society? No. I think they could do less, far less. They could divest. They could stop hoarding wealth and resources, denying people access to basic human needs for survival. That is an abomination on human rights. And if you support billionaires, you support your right to be exploited. You are defending mass starvation and poverty. It is fundamentally a problem in this society that more people do not understand how billionaires materially affect poverty. The two are intrinsically linked. For you to still believe in the myth of meritocracy is troubling. We are not talking about fixing people's lives. We're talking about giving people human dignity and living with the bare basic needs for survival, which is being denied by extreme wealth hoarders. And furthermore, they're parasites on the population. They're literally parasites on society. Capitalism is not free market and rugged individualism. It is socialism for the rich. Capitalism is privatization of land, resources, wealth, political power, property, profits, and the exploitation of people. It's profits over people, which is unjust and is driving the planet to a mass extinction event.
Nixon ordered Cambodian genocide. Clinton sent cruise missiles to Sudan, people died. You gave the orders to do drone strikes. Invaded Nicaragua in '85.